I want to have enough time to get to all the levels of strategic talent. And so I'm going to move to another level here, and that's you talk about tools, you talk about market data. What is this? How does this play a role in what you're doing in talent acquisition, in strategic talent?
Great question. I think there's a few different things. I'm a firm believer in this world. It's just like, I'm going to use an analogy. If you look and you're playing a team, you're looking at their tapes. So you've got to know who your key competitors are. You've got to know how you're performing against them from an analytics standpoint. If you're doing X on LinkedIn, what are they doing? Are you at par? Are you different? Where are your differentiators? You've got to go in and look at their career pages, how they're posting, like what makes you different and why somebody would join. So that's one level, is that competitive analysis and those vectors of differentiation, if you will. A second is we utilize, doing a plug for them, but LinkedIn Talent Insights, to really go in. And many times they'll have a hiring manager and they'll go and they're building something. And I think they're commonly called a purple squirrel or a flying unicorn, but the person doesn't really exist. And I find having market data to support based upon what you said, there's only one person in all of LinkedIn for this, or this is the demand. So if we take away this or we use this job title, so it really is that bargaining. I know you said all this. Do you really need all this training? Like, can you develop on? But it's starting with the market dynamic. I think that's important. Other place we use market dynamics and such is I utilize Gartner to really say, okay, who's doing what from a best practice standpoint? What are the things rolling out? Yeah, I think as talent leaders, we have to constantly be talking to our peers and see who's doing what from an AI perspective. What are those automation features coming into the future? So you have all that data as well. And then you've got to be looking at your own metrics. So what did I do last year? What am I doing this year? How am I trending? This worked last year. Is it working this year? Because the good thing about technology is we can look at numbers more and more to track what is effective and what's not, and get out of saying, I'm going to do it this way because I've always done it this way.
You started answering that question. I thought you were a chief marketing officer for a moment. You started talking about competitive advantages and looking at the competition, points of differentiation, and so important. We all have to know our audience. We have to know our competition, who we're up against. And so what you talked about is we need to be constant students in what we're doing here. But at the same time, what I took away from what you're saying is you're constantly working with hiring managers globally and resetting expectations, defining the roles with them based on reality, based on what's out there, based on what their desire is, what they need for their high performance team members. But you are a consultant to them, is what I took away from that and getting to that point.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of it is asking my team members to be that person. I love the word why, but it really is understanding, why do you need this? Why is this a good opportunity? Why would somebody want to do this? What can they accomplish? It's like having that who, what, why, when, where. But you need to be effective in terms of having your questions up front and knowing your job is to ask the questions. You may not have the answers, but don't assume you have the answers if you haven't asked the questions.
So, in all of that fact finding, the collaboration, and the whys, the asking the questions and everything, that leads to what you had talked about is the importance of storytelling and talent acquisition. Tell us what you mean by that.
Thank you for asking that question. So if I come from a storytelling, joke telling family from way back, and I remember it's such a lost art, if you will, but the importance of personalizing the story so you can have numbers out there, you can have metrics out there, but people relate to people. People relate to actual things that happen. So when you're recruiting, you need to be able to help people understand, give them an example. Like if I'm talking about my CEO who's amazing, but I think you need to give examples of things that have happened that share what you're trying to share. So I'll give you an example. This morning, we have on a monthly basis something, which are like our employee resource group meetings. And we recently rolled out a wellness group to talk about life balance. So to be able to get through the communication, it's having people give examples. How do you balance your life? So one person, it's meditation, another it may be working out, another they got a puppy, so they need to take the puppy for walks. And I think what you find so many times, it's those experiences and being able to tell the story and personalizing it that makes you become more relatable?